And let's find out and bring in Mr. Tobias Belgrano, the international political consultant from Buenos Aires. Welcome, Mr. Belgrano, to In Focus. How serious is the blowback from this corruption scandal involving Karina Milei, and how might it affect Milei's image as a political outsider?
Hello, thanks for having me once again. So this is the second blowback President Milei has. In February this year, Milei was involved in a crypto scandal, internationally speaking, where the funds of a lot of investors disappeared around a fake cryptocurrency. So internationally, it was his first blowback because internally didn't have enough impact as the internal population in Argentina were not able to understand the technicalities of the crypto scandals. However, right now, the problem is completely understandable by everyone, and this is causing a lot of distress and anger in between the electorate, which has have behaved aggressively in President Milei rally yesterday, and had thrown rocks at him, calling him corrupt and calling him a thief. His sister was leaked in a leaked audio by his personal lawyer. This is what makes it so trustworthy, is that his personal lawyer leaked an audio talking about corruption schemes between the disabled agency in Buenos Aires, and talking about schemes stealing about 3% of the medicines budget for each medication for the disability agency. So this scandals comes from the high stakes of power close to Javier Milei, and Javier Milei has a very strong and dependency on his sister psychologically. So he doesn't want to renounce on his sister, which is by the way the general secretary of the presidents, which is very close to Javier Milei. So he doesn't want to renounce to her. But the problem is that the people are very angry, and her popularity has been decreased. According to polls, 70% of Argentinian population is aware about the scandal, and 60% consider it as very dangerous for the country, and a very corrupt scheme.
Mhm. Well, many in Argentina saw Milei's rise as a reaction to decades of cronyism. Does this scandal shift the narrative that he's different from the old political class?
Well, definitely, definitely. This his display as a political outsider was internationally backlash, at the beginning of the year, but now internally he's strongly criticized by that. But he's showing himself as a political outsider, and he was going to destroy the political establishment. This narrative is falling apart internally in Argentina. So we are, and this is not casual that it's happening right now, because we're having an election in 2 weeks' time, and Peronism it's becoming really competitive right now in the last few days. According to some image polls, Javier Milei used to be the political figure with the best image internally. Right now, Cristina Kirchner and Axel Kicillof, the former president and vice president from Argentina and the current governor of Buenos Aires province, have increased their positive image, which is challenging for Javier Milei, which is trying to uh, destroy Kirchnerism, as he has been saying repeatedly.
Well, what do we know about Diego Spagnuolo's leaked recordings? Why are they particularly explosive?
Well, they are particularly explosive because Diego Españolo, as I mentioned before, is the lawyer of Javier Milei, the personal lawyer of Javier Milei, and also he was presented by the main candidate of the Libertarian Party in Buenos Aires province, which is now competing against Peronism. So there's a double complication, because it's close to the president and it's close to the current candidate in Buenos Aires province, which has also been attacked in other political rallies in Junín recent days before the Lomas de Zamora scandal. So this corruption scandal has hit hard in the libertarian narrative in all ways. The closeness to the president and the capability of the Argentinian electorate to understand the corruption scheme behind it makes it so so destructive, and the closeness to the president. Also, not only the closeness to the president, but also he speaks about some collaborators which are related to Menem's family. Menem's family are the former president Carlos Saúl Menem, the also a Peronist liberal president, which was very corrupt also. So there's like internal criticism even in the libertarian lines, saying that the thinking about destroying the political establishment with the Menems within was very hard because they were genetically corrupt, as a journalist said.
Well, Karina Milei's role in the administration is central. You've mentioned she is the Secretary General of his office now. How has her political influence evolved? She's dubbed El Jefe, and could it become a liability then for the president? How will he be dealing now with his sister?
Well, it's completely a liability right now, as the president doesn't want to take her to take her away from the Secretary General of President. He's capable or intending to fire other politicians among his inner circle, but he's not interested in separating Karina Milei from his side. So if he doesn't, or if he doesn't not fire her, this will be completely a liability to him, because her image is daily decreasing, and her corruption claims have been repeated in the time. She was also related to the Libra scandal in February this year, so her image and her perception as corrupt is being increasing in the electorate. So she's becoming an increasing liability for the president if he doesn't decide to set her away from the Secretary General of the presidency.
Well, the elections are stated for September and October. Do you believe this scandal will significantly influence? It definitely probably will affect the elections. Do you think it will influence the voter turnout, the sentiment ahead of these elections?
Well, the general sentiment in Argentina is that people are not wanting to go to vote. This is a problem in the recent Buenos Aires city elections, and it's probably going to be a problem in the Buenos Aires province elections that we're having now. Even in other provinces of the country, people are not wanting to go to vote, even though the vote is mandatory here in Argentina. People are not going to vote because they are angry, and I think that after this scandal, probably this will affect the libertarian electorate, because probably more people who voted for Javier Milei in the ballotage in 2023 probably will not be interested in going to vote. Mainly, I'm speaking about the non-radicalized electorate that probably won't be intending to go to vote. And this is a problem for the government, as Peronism has a more mobilization power, especially in Buenos Aires urban area. So it's risky for the government that this scandal is released right now. And also adding on that, the rumor in Buenos Aires is that there's a lot more of a material around Diego Paniolo. There's also some claims about there's a version of a video of Menem, which is close to Karina Milei, riding a Ferrari in a very rich neighborhood in Buenos Aires. So the scandal is increasing every day as it passes.
Well, looking at the opposition, some see Axel Kicillof comment as fraudster, liar, describing Milei, of course, as signaling a more aggressive opposition. Are we heading into a much more hostile campaign season then?
Yeah, probably. As initially, the Peronism intended to show some moderate candidates to make Milei shout all by himself and show themselves as more moderate and more serious politicians, rather than Javier Milei's incendiary narrative. So I think now, after this corruption scandal, probably he will be perceived as shouting to the air, rather than Peronists speaking of in serious terms and in traditional terms as traditional politicians. So the outsider has shown the corrupt scandal. So Peronism tried to show moderation and serious candidates. even though Kicillof is trying to fight against Javier Milei with a more incendiary narrative, the candidates Peronism chose are more moderate in that sense.
Mr. Tobias Belgrano, thank you very much for your insight all the way from Buenos Aires.